What's happening? Andy here. I am joined today by Anna Grubb from ECI. How are you, Anna?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Andy. How you doing?
I am awesome. It is great to see you. I've been seeing you a little bit earlier this year, and you guys have been extremely busy. You've been in my news feed nonstop. First off, congrats on the awards. I think the most recent thing I ran was you won some Stevie Awards.
We sure did. That's one we're really proud of. I know that in the industry, we have a bit of a reputation for our service, and we have made a change for the better. I think you're going to start seeing more and more great things about how we've improved our service, specifically by moving to a pod style. So basically, what we're doing is our first call response rate has now gone to 90%. So it's making a huge change in the industry, and we're super proud of that.
So you got some recognition for that. That's awesome because I mean, your customers are everything to you, right? I mean, and the happier they are, the longer they're going to stay with you, the better they're going to feel about you and your programs. Let's just take a step back, maybe just give us the overview. What does ECI Solutions, Software Solutions do? What do you do for them?
So ECI Software Solutions, we have our main ERP, which is of course eAutomate, and then we have our add-on products, which is our Printanista solution. We have other legacy device management software solutions as well, but right now we're focused solely on our go-forward solutions of eAutomate and Printanista, which is our main core business.
Very cool. And you guys, I mean, you guys are a big company. Not everything you do is in the print world, but most of, I mean, what we know you for, especially eAutomate, that's the one like almost every dealer I know uses that. That's the biggie. But then you do have these other products. We're going to talk about them in a little more detail further in the interview. But I wanted to find out, I know where I've seen you. I saw you a couple events earlier this year, but where have you been? I know you had a speaking engagement. What's been going on with ECI? What's been happening with you guys?
Well, I have personally been a few different places. So I guess at the end of February, I headed to Key West to the TD SYNNEX conference where I was able to speak to a small group of dealers. And that was a fantastic experience to kind of get in front of some people, telling people what we're doing and what we're up to and kind of why we're here. So that was at the end of February. And then the following week, my team was at the BTA where we had the Elevate e-Automate Day, which was amazing. We had lots of good turnout on that. That is an actual BTA event that we went in and supported and just got lots of great feedback on that event. A week after that, I headed to the Xerox event in Vegas, which is where I think I saw you last, which was amazing. Really good event there. So I had another gentleman on my team join me, and we spent the week there talking to different people, and that was a kind of a global event. So it was a good event to be at.
Did
In
you
the
see
middle of all,
dealers? I'm sorry. Did you see dealers that you knew from? Yeah, I know you work in Australia or in Europe. Did you see other dealers that you knew from the other markets
I did. Yeah, that
at
was
the
one of the things.
Xerox?
At the Xerox event, I actually saw people that I've actually met before, like one of our larger eAutomate customers in the UK came over to see me and say hi, and I wasn't even expecting him to be there. So we had that happening. And we also had other prospects that I know my team is talking to, and like, well, everywhere from Sweden to Amsterdam and kind of all over the world. So it was really great. I was glad that I personally went into that because I just did not expect all different people that knew who we were, had heard of us, and they wanted to know a bit more about what we're up to.
That's one of the cool things about that Xerox conference. When you go to, because most of the companies I work with, we cover, they're subsidiaries, they're global companies, but we work with the group that is based here in the US. And a couple of the companies we work with, and you work with Xerox, HP, they are truly global companies, but they're based here. So we're dealing at a different level. And when they do a global event, they bring people in from all over. And you just, I have colleagues I've met from all over the world that I never would have met if it hadn't been for Xerox and HP over the years. And it's just really cool that these guys are still doing that. And just to see people come from all these countries and territories, all of them with the common thread, right? They're all selling office equipment, and all those guys, they were all selling Xerox. And so you work with a lot of those companies that were here.
Yes, yeah, we already work with them. They're using one of our device management solutions, or they are even using eAutomate because we have done that global expansion that we talked about, I guess, in the last couple of years, right? So we have a lot of customers outside of North America, which not everybody in the US would be aware of. So that's very exciting. And that would be the other event I was going to mention that we were in the Fuji event in Australia. So that would have been like the third year I think we've been there because we have eAutomate customers going live throughout the Australia and New Zealand area.
Is Fuji a big partner of yours? Are they one of the just like typical with all the others that we have here?
Yeah, they are more predominantly in Australia and New Zealand, but they are obviously we're seeing more and more of them as they kind of cross over the pond. So it's been exciting to watch all the OEMs and the moving and shaking.
Yeah, and so I'm sure you're gonna wind up. Actually, you're probably one of the first companies to know when somebody signs up with Fuji because I would guarantee it hits that e-automate system. So you had a busy spring. You were all over the place.
Yes, yeah, it's been a busy spring, but a very good spring, so I can't complain at all.
Well, that's awesome. And I had some notes about a webinar coming up and you've moved it and so date is still be the is TBD. But what's that webinar about? I know we've run a little bit about it in our news feed.
Yeah, I know Larissa's going to do kind of a general overview of what's been going on because like she likes to do a general session, so that's going to be coming up. We don't have the date exactly
Oh,
locked and loaded,
Larissa's
but
gonna be running. That's gonna be awesome. So you've got one of your chief, executives of our
yeah,
space who's gonna kind of lay out the land and say what's happening. Let's just go with that.
she's going to say that what's happening. I'm going to tell her that she start every episode of any webinar she does is going to start with what's happening.
I'm okay with that. I'm good with that. All right, so I
Yeah.
have a note. So let's get into what's hot. What's hot? What are you hearing from your dealers? What's everybody saying about you? What's the perception? Like, what are you seeing? You've had a lot of time in the field now in the last
Yeah.
few months, and what are you seeing?
It's funny as I'm seeing a lot of different things, right? Of course, there's things we want them to hear and see. And of course, I've already touched on the support and how we've made a lot of improvements with our support team. But what's been interesting is the feedback we're getting about EvolutionX, which is our new e-commerce platform. So that was launched in September of last year. Before we even launched it, we already had dealers sign up. So we have customers that are already live and using EvolutionX as their e-commerce solution. It's fully integrated with eAutomate. So we're really excited about that and the feedback we're getting. Matter of fact, we did a webinar last week where one of the early adopters we had joined and did an interview style. So if you've not seen that, I would encourage you to go look for it and listen in because it was just really well done and really well received. So EvolutionX is kind of our new, I guess, shiny tool that we want to make sure people are aware of. So that's exciting.
So what kind of things are people able to sell with that on? I mean, is it like a true shopping cart setup? Is it customized? Like what? Tell me a little more about EvoX. It's EvoX is like the act is the shortened version. It's EvolutionX is the right. Am I getting it right?
It's you getting it right. It's funny because it's one of those things where you keep all these different names, but it
I
is
like
the
EvoX.
official
It's
name.
cool.
EvoX sounds cooler. It sounds like I don't know, maybe a superhero.
Yeah.
Uh, so it was an acquisition that we did, ECI did a couple years back now. So it just entered into the field service division, like, as I said, last year. So you can have a full shopping cart. So the thing about EvolutionX is it's truly an e-commerce solution. So you can actually sell anything you want. So and the reason why I like this specifically is it gives our customers the ability to start selling things that they weren't able to sell before. So if you're not really sure about, how do I get into different markets in different regions? And I know, obviously if you wanted to sell everything from like, the janitorial things, like you can sell bleach, you
Yeah.
can sell toilet paper, you can sell if you anything you want, you can start selling on this e-commerce and it's fully customizable. Our team will work with the dealer to say, okay, well, what branding do you want? What do you want to sell? You can add different catalogs. We have certain catalogs, like for example, TD SYNNEX's catalogs in there as well as distribution management
Mm.
already. So then you can toggle things on and off. So if you don't want to sell everything that these distributors provide, you can just say, I want to sell everything except for these few things over here. So that you've got a lot of different flexibility and customization you can do. But our team is more than happy to walk you through what that would look like. But it's not just those two catalogs. We have other catalogs as well, but those are just two that just kind of jump into my mind. And I'm sure that our two vendor partners are going to hear me say that and are going to be super happy that I remember to give them a shout out.
I love how those how the e-commerce, how the dealers who use it are all doing it differently. Like you've got some
Mhm.
that have products, forward-facing products, anybody can buy it. It's just a pure shopping cart setup. Not so much with the printers and copiers yet, right? But other products that you mentioned, some of the other, maybe office supplies. But what I love it for is that, call it a portal if you want. Like every customer can have their own login and then
Yep.
they can see what's available to them. And you get it set up properly. And now you've got customers who say, I'm not going to go to Staples. I'm just going to go because I have an account set up. Everything's there. I have a monthly limit I'm allowed. I can just get my paper. I don't have to fill out anything. I don't have to expense anything. It's just easy, right? And it's
Yeah.
with a trusted company. And Yeah, it's just nice for you guys as a dealer to walk in the morning and see orders, right? Like I didn't have to do anything. Nobody had to make a phone call. I didn't have my supplies people on the phone, and yet here we are in the morning with, five orders, 10, however many it is. And I just think that's maybe not everything is appropriate yet, and maybe a lot of it is, and we just haven't realized it. But I do think, every dealer could benefit from figuring out a way at one level or another of getting that shopping cart into their, you know, into their business plan.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's truly is like a full front end website as well. Like, because you can even write a blog. Like, so you could just say, hey, why is what's happening so hot right now? And then you can make it professional. You can say, do you want it long? How long is it? 2 minutes to read, 5 minutes to read, whatever that. So we've got lots of different functionalities and features embedded right in EvolutionX that you can take advantage of if you want to. Like,
And
I
it's
mean,
launched, it's live, it's here.
it's launched, it's live, it's here. And as with any software, we're always adding more features and functionalities to it. So if we don't have it today, make sure you let us know what it is you're looking for, because that's what we're trying to do is make sure that we're keeping our customers relevant as we move into the future, right?
How do they talk to you guys about this? Is this, just talk to my normal e-automate, the person I'm
Yeah.
working with on e-automate, or is it Printanista? Like whoever my contact is, they'll be able to help me with this, or do I need to find somebody else at ECI to chat with about this?
You can just talk to your account manager. So my entire team is more than well aware of the product features functionalities. They can go through it. We can give you a demo, walk you through what it's like, and yeah, just reach out to your account manager that you would talk to on a regular basis. We're actually proactively trying to make sure we reach out to our customers to let them know what's going on, so then that way they can see new things as they're coming out.
Nice. Very nice. Let's shift gears and talk print management. You guys are so well known for e-automate, and I probably should talk about that a bit, but I don't have that on my list of things for today's call. So let's talk. I do want to talk about print management because you have a pretty significant program and you're trying to grow it, and it's got a great name. And tell me more about it. It's Printanista, right?
I
Um,
was wondering if you're going to try and avoid saying it. You just said it's got a great name, but yes,
No, I like
Printanista.
it. Mobile,
It's
you've integrated it with some more solutions, and so it's not like it's just this thing that sits there and doesn't, get updated and changed and evolve. It's like this is something that when we started working together about 2 years ago, that was part of the program that you wanted to make dealers more aware of, and print management is still a huge opportunity for everybody. So it's a matter of just finding the right partners, or sometimes maybe making a change and getting a different partner if you've hit the wall. And so let's kind of dive into Printanista a little and talk about what you've been doing with that.
Well, Printanista itself, we've been working on making sure it's more and more integrated with eAutomate, because what we're trying to do is just give it like that full workflow. In the grand scheme, like, do you really want to be going into Printanista to create certain reports and alerts? Well, if once you do it, you should set it and forget it, and then it all flow into eAutomate. So we have really
Mm.
tightened the integration into eAutomate, so you can see the data you need right at your fingertips. So it's right in front of you. So if you can make the better business decisions you need. So the recent change we made, and it was only in the last 3 to 4 months, I want to say it was launched in January. We did a integration with Mobile Tech. So Mobile Tech is the technician app that our technicians are using when they're being dispatched, so they can get live information about the devices right within the app that they're looking at. So it just gives that seamless workflow, so that way they're not going, well, I have to log into a different system to go do this. We're removing all of those barriers just to make sure our dealers can just go about their day and get their business done.
Well, that's awesome. That integration, how is it like a modular addition for dealers that are already using Printanista? Like how do they
They're
take
just going to get
advantage of
it. Good. So right now we're doing, so if you're on mobile tech, so I will say that we've got a lot of our customers are still on remote tech, which is a legacy solution. So this is another reason why you want to move forward to mobile tech. So if you're on mobile tech, you would already have access to this integration. Obviously, you would need to be on mobile tech, Printanista, and eAutomate to get the full benefits of this, because if without all three, you're not going to be able to have the integration.
that? Is very cool. So you guys have you spent some time with that with I mean, first of all, just developing this other the integration for the mobile product, and then or remote tech and mobile tech integrations, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so now that's all. I didn't realize that it all, and I should have realized just based on who you are, but I didn't realize that all the data fed obviously right into e-automate. So you get a nice dashboard. You can see everything. right? And so now your print management is folded into everything right in front of you with all the other parts of your company. And yeah, I like that. And then I would imagine auto fulfillment and all that other stuff gets built right into that too.
Exactly, exactly. So, and you can even use some of the intelligence that Printanista has by creating some alerts, which will help trigger and then push and pull data between the two different systems. So, it has just been it's been game changing, and we've gotten a lot of really good feedback from our customers who are already using it. We actually have customers that are asking questions about how do they get there. And I think that's what our end goal, of course, is to get people moving forward to our go forward solutions because that's where we're spending all of our time and investing in the future, right? So this is just another way to say, hey, if you move forward, you get these benefits, which overall is going to streamline your business and make things easier for you.
Well, you guys are always, working on a lot. I don't think you get enough credit sometimes for, how big you are and how many different pieces need to be continually worked on and updated. And you mentioned it earlier, and I don't think we spent enough time on it. But let's go back to, right off the bat, you got an award for it, the customer service. And I know, you know, maybe you don't even want to talk about, customer service is something that I think, let's just say it was an opportunity for you guys to make yourselves a little better. Maybe if there were some complaints about you, that was an area that, you guys in the past, I think saw as an opportunity to like, we can get a lot better at this. And so tell me about some of the changes you made. You got your customer service levels are up to 95%. That is, you shared with me what the original number was earlier. I forget what it was, but you're way higher than it was now. And, that's a tribute to the effort that you guys have made, to try to be easier to work with, to try to make things better. But like so what have you done to jump from, a number you didn't like to up to, 95% where you're really, you look like a company that is actually, got their act together and you're really, addressing your customer needs. And that's a great change.
Yeah, no, it's something we're very, very proud of. So the way we used to do things was based on if you go, when you go to a hospital and you have like a triage nurse and they say, how you doing? I'll check your temperature, I'll check your blood pressure, get all these little things. So we were doing like a triage style before. That would then mean you would then have to go in like a queue and then you get pushed into a different team to then say, okay, well, this doctor has to see you. Then you might get into the specialist because you realize, oh my goodness, you've got some sort of an infection that you need to go to the infectious disease. I don't know why that one came into my head, but that's where you need to go. So, in the grand scheme of things, that's it. While that has a lot of benefits, it also was slowing us down. So what happened was is our triage nurse would go through and get all the information, but if they didn't know the right questions to ask because they're not the infectious disease, if we're going to keep on my little analogy because we're on that train now, they didn't know to ask about, well, what caused this and all these deeper questions. So now we're doing a pod style, and when this was first rolled out by our support team to the divisions, they used the orca whales. I keep saying orchid and I can't seem to stop myself, but the orca
You
whales.
got it.
So
You
the
got it.
killer whales, I should just say killer whales, it's easier. So, and the idea of how they all work together, right? So that's when we made that change, it means that, they actually can see what's happening and they get the answers faster because then you're like, okay, what's going on here? And then we're making sure that we've just removed that layer of triage. I'm not saying we don't have people out there that will still answer, like, because we do obviously have our chats. If you want to chat questions,
Mhm.
then you can chat questions in. But it just by making this big change to have a pod style swarm, it has made a significant improvement. Like the number before, like, I'm just going to say it. It was under 50% for our first call response. Now we're seeing over 90% first call response.
And
So what that
like,
means
how long ago? So how long since you started from when you were in the, in the lower numbers up to how long until did you start this and that to get to this point where you made this change?
so we started making the change kind of last summer timeframe. So I
Mhm.
would say that this is all
Wow.
with it's been under a year of making the change, but it really, really got launched and rolled out in the fall and for our division specifically. And they had done it in other divisions and they saw the success and they just started like replicating it. And then across the board, like, now that we've done this, we are getting so much better feedback from our customers. Our CSAT scores are really high. They've always been relatively high, but we're getting way more feedback because you know what it's like. Quite often you're thinking, well, you don't get as many responses because people they figure that it's falling on deaf ears. Nothing is falling on deaf ears when it comes to ECI. We hear you, we're listening, and we're just making the improvements we need to make sure that I think I told you before, like we're trying to change that brand we have in the industry of not supporting our customers. We're doing everything we possibly can to make sure that our customers realize that we do care about them and we're here for them.
It's been noticeable that the effort has been noticeable, and all that, customer service stuff that you just mentioned is amazing. So did people, I mean, did you just shift people? Were these new positions that were created, the new pods, like that must have just been for a period, that must have been a nightmare for you guys because everything has just exploded. You just blew up the whole system, and now nobody is doing things that they've always done and that they're comfortable with. Everyone's got to do it a new way. And how did that process go for you guys? You clearly got past the hump.
Yeah, clearly we got past the hump, and luckily I didn't have to live it. So for the team that did it, I'm just gonna say I have all the respect in the world for the fact that they made it through this, and I've
Seriously.
spoken to them. They did a great job. So it was more about communication and collaboration. So when you think about it, you just have to make sure that how are we going to do this and make sure it's going to work and be successful. So we did make some changes on our team, and obviously we've had to move a few people around. But in the grand scheme of things, what it's done is that we've upskilled a lot of our team. So gave them the technology and obviously the resources they needed to get answers faster. So that change has been really, really great. And again, we're just seeing it across the board. And I was shocked at how fast we saw the changes. So that's why we're winning these other like Stevie awards, right?
Well, that's awesome. Stevie's a big name in our industry for whatever reason. We get a lot of press releases from them. They give a lot of recognitions to companies like you and others that we're all very familiar with. So that's just awesome. Well, congratulations on that change. That couldn't have been easy. I'm sure that was quite the nightmare, and it sounds like it worked out.
Yeah.
So congrats to whoever's idea that was. Good job. Before I let you go, I want to touch base on what you have coming up. I know one thing you have coming up. You and the rest of the industry will be at our charity golf event in August. You were one of the first companies to jump up and say, "Well, we're in." And I love it. And thank you very much for that. We're going to fight some cancer and have just a wonderful couple of days in Michigan. Other than that event, where are we going to see it? Are you going to be at BTA or are you going to be at other events? I think you have your own event coming up as well.
What have we, we've, the next event is there's another TD Synnex event coming up at the beginning of June. So I think that one I will personally be at. And then a couple weeks after that, there's the BTA. So that one is I think it's in New Mexico.
It
So,
is. It is
yeah,
Albuquerque,
yeah,
outside of
exactly.
Albuquerque, I believe.
Yeah. So we'll be at that event as well. And then we don't have our own event coming up this year. So
Oh,
this
it's
year we
next
had,
year. Yes,
yes,
because
yeah,
there's the user conference, the eAutomate user conference is this year, which you
yes.
were, I believe, last I heard, you were going to be attending it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we always support the EUG for sure. Like that is our users. We are going to be there. It's in October this year. I can get you the
Mhm.
exact date, but
It's
I
a big, I
definitely
have it it's on our industry calendar on our website. That's a big one. It's 800, there's a lot of people at that event. It's a big event.
it's a huge event. So yeah, we're looking forward to supporting the EUG this year. It's near our main eAutomate office. So I was just in Provo a couple weeks back actually. So in the Utah area. So that one will be in Salt Lake. I think there's also a Sharp event coming up later this year.
Yep, I believe that's October as well.
Yes, exactly. So we're basically all over the map right now, which has been great.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a slowdown after I had like April was nice. April was manageable, but the first 3 months of the year were just nuts. I was all over the place. I got a lot of miles. It was a long run, but I saw you guys all over the place. And I know I'll be seeing you down the road. And anyone who's watching this, go to that BTA conference. It's the last one of the year. The big complaint with BTA was always, oh, there's too many of them. I only need to go to one or two. Well, now you can only go to two, and the first one already happened. So go to this one. There's going to be great speakers at it, right? There's going to be some really good speakers at it. And then there's an IBPI that leads right into that. I don't know. I think you guys are probably just showing up for the BTA, but a couple great reasons to go to Albuquerque, and then we'll be seeing you at the other dealer conferences throughout the year, the user conference. So busy year for you guys.
It's always busy. We're never bored, but it's always a great year for sure.
Well, this has been awesome. Thank you very much for coming on. Thanks for sharing, what's happening at ECI with us. And any last words? Any shout outs for anybody you want as we wrap this up?
Oh, no pressure. I'm just gonna say thank you. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with thank you, Andy. It's been a pleasure as always, and I will see you soon.
You will see me soon. This was great. Thanks, Anna.
Thanks. Take
Bye.
care.